The free pass will go to Denny Hamlin. Kurt Busch appeared to be able to hold off Montoya, but we won't know how that would have played out because we'll have a restart here. Let's take this back a lap prior to when they crashed.
See them here. This is coming off of turn 4. Whoa.
He was trying hard right there.
I think he was going to give him a little tap right there. Missed him.
And then the next time around, this happens. You know, we talked about rivalries and about the gloves coming off.
Well, you know,
I think they have.
Denny Hamlin and Keselowski in the Nationwide Series have had a little run in. Matter of fact, Hamlin spun Keselowski out, similar to that same situation at Homestead in the last race last year. This is a young man in that 12 car that has not made a lot of friends, but that's not good protocol right there.
Earlier, when Carl climbed out of the car, he had a look at the replay with Dick Berggren, and I think we made the comment, he was very gracious.
I really thought it was his fault, but that replay doesn't look like it was as malicious as I thought.
But he went on to further say, Brad never gives me any room.
Yeah, and I said at the time, remember that I thought when he went and looked at that again, he might change his mind.
I know we showed the highlights of 2 Cup situations, one earlier in this race and then from Talladega. These two also got together in Memphis in the Nationwide Series race. In fact, Keselowski wrecked Edwards over in Memphis.
What you just heard was Bob Osborne telling his driver, Carl Edwards, that NASCAR is parking Edwards for the balance of the race, and he's being called to the NASCAR hauler.
See, this is the fear that NASCAR has to have when they say they're going to let the guys be guys, let their drivers be drivers and take care of things themselves. And this is a fear that they have to have.
He's not doing himself no favor right now going backwards down pit road either. They're not going to like that at all.
So Carl Edwards goes to the garage after contact between he and Brad Keselowski sends Keselowski on his roof, out of the race, and away from what would have been a top 10 finish. Chris?
Mike, thanks. With Jeff Hammond here watching in the Hollywood Hotel. 3 laps to go before the caution coming out. So we're set up. We've had, what, 5 last lap dramatic finishes here in Atlanta. We might be ready for another one that won't involve Keselowski or Carl Edwards. But expound a little bit on what happens with Carl Edwards now as NASCAR has him parked.
He's getting ready to have a really severe timeout situation. They're going to bring him up there in the truck, make him sit down and have a little word of prayer with him, with Mike Helton and probably Robin Pemberton along with John Darby, because they can clearly see the same thing we saw. He was looking for payback. He found payback. I think he was going to be surprised at the end result. I really believe that Carl thought he could spin him out, send him out down through the
not create the
kind of wreck. But at 180 miles an hour, you have this kind of situation. Here we got just a few laps to go. We're going to find out who's going to go down pit road. It looks like everybody's coming down through here. And Matt Yoakum, it's going to be a race off of pit road now.
Jeff, they were debating what to do for the 9. They are going to go 4 sticker tires and make a significant track bar adjustment for the short run of the finish.
And Kurt Busch coming on to pit road to the attention of the Steve Addington-led crew. He slides to a stop. What they're going to do, they're going to add a little extra air in the right rear tire. A little extra air in the right rear tire for Kurt Busch and 4 tires. They debated not taking fuel to keep some nose weight, but they do put some gas in it.
Thanks very much. As we take a look at the race off pit road.
You can see some of the guys, I think he just took 2 tires versus 4 tires. We're going to be looking at the same scenario we did a week ago. And the interesting part has to be is how they're going to line up on this double file restart shootout style. That's going to be the key right now, is who's out front.
And you also have the chance of 3 with the new rule of green, white checker finishes. You have to consider that. So where are you on the 2-tire, 4-tire for Kurt Busch and a guy like Juan Pablo Montoya?
We've saw all day long that 4 new tires is the way to go. And again, if you can get off of pit road and get clear of this restart, you're going to be the one that's going to wind up winning this race. I think you're going to see some guys going to the outside when other guys can't get up there and get the grip.
Kurt Busch is trying to become the first driver to win back-to-back Atlanta spring races since Cale Yarborough in the 60s. But let's check in with Krista Voda, who's with Brad Keselowski. Krista?
Chris, Brad Keselowski just came out of the care center. The irony is, a year ago, you were watching from victory lane as another car flipped over. Are you okay, and what happened out there?
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, first off, Penske Racing had some phenomenal cars today. Really proud of the 12 team. Everybody on the Mopar 12 Dodge Charger. A lot to be proud of back home in the shop. I think Kurt's got a real good, strong shot at winning it, so I'm really pulling for him. Hopefully he'll get it done for Penske today, but just a wild ride that was uncalled for.
Brad, check this out, too. I know Carl a little earlier, he had some words. He said maybe it wasn't his fault. Then he said it was. He took the blame, but he also said you weren't giving him any room out there.
You know, he cut down on me on a restart, and I lifted. I couldn't lift fast enough for him. I lifted for him to let him in, but I was there. I don't know what more you could do. You know, Carlo, that's what they say. So I was underneath him, tried to cut him a break. It was too late, though. He turned down. So I apologized to him, but there's nothing I could do in that situation. And to come back and just intentionally wreck someone, that's not cool. I mean, it could have killed somebody in the grandstands. And I know that it's a little ironic that it's got me saying that, but at least I didn't do it intentionally when it happened. So it'll be interesting to see how NASCAR reacts to it. They have the ball. If they're going to allow people to intentionally wreck each other at tracks this fast, we will hurt someone either in the cars or in the grandstand. So it's not cool to intentionally wreck somebody at 195 mile an hour.
Thanks, Brad. We're glad you're not hurt. Dick Berggren?
With Carl Edwards, did you intentionally wreck him?
Well, Brad knows the deal between him and I, and you know, the scary part was that his car went airborne, which was not at all what I expected. And you know, at the end of the day, we come out here to race, and people got to have respect for one another, and I have a lot of respect for people's safety, and I wish that wouldn't have gone like it did, but I'm glad he's okay, and we'll just go on and race some more, and maybe him and I won't have any more incidents together. That'd be the best thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. You get both sides of the story. 2 tires versus 4 tires?
I would rather go 4 today.
All right, let's go up to Larry, Darrell, and Mike on this.
Well, what I was going to say, and Darrell and I was talking about it, if you were about 8 or on back, like Boyer, Menard, McMurray, I'd go with 2. Remember, we're only going to possibly run 2 laps here. I think if you were Kurt Busch or Montoya, absolutely no choice. You had to go with 4.
Just give me a couple of minutes and I'll let you know.
There's the driver. I'll let you know in the Monday morning meeting.
That's right.
There are 3 laps to go. That means a restart with 2 to go. Lights are out on the Camaro pace car. And Paul Menard is in a position to score his best finish ever in Sprint Cup racing.
Mike, Larry, the guys that got 2 should have gotten 2. The guys that got 4 got 4.
I agree, totally.
So I think that's the deal.